last week, the National Weather Service in Gray issued a flood potential outlook with the concern of possible isolated ice jams due to a lower than normal snowpack.
Meteorologist Timothy Sanum joins us now, breaking down what an ice jam is and what they are capable of.
And it's pretty interesting. You know, they did put this report out last week, and they're looking for a little bit of some changes as we head towards February. So I was actually just talking in the newsroom to another employee, one of our coworkers, and he was like, yeah, like we haven't got like any snow in my house. I'm like, I think that's going to be a little bit of an issue further down the road. So let's get into a little bit of this. In early February, computer models were showing an early season thaw. That's really due to low snow accumulation in the west and up in the slopes as well. And river ice growth is expected to continue, leading to the concern for breakup jams further down the line, as far south as the southern rivers down near the coastline. Now here's a video from last year of an ice jam on the Connecticut River over in Lebanon, New Hampshire, and it just moves so slow, and it's very beautiful to look at, but it definitely has some negative impacts.
Yeah.
Exactly. So a little bit into what an ice jam is, what it is capable of. When warmer weather begins to break ice apart, you start to see a little bit of some issues. So the ice actually flows down the stream. Flow actually looks a little weird, the FLOE. Those are more so ice sheets. So ice sheets begin to flow down the river, and the ice can be lodged in tight or curved areas. You know, not every single river is straight. So they're going to run into a curve, whether it's in the next 5 minutes or the next hour. Once that ice begins to get caught, though, it actually begins to block off the flow of the river, resulting in flooding. And here's a picture of the Saco River back in January 2018 over in North Conway, New Hampshire, and Freiburg, Maine. And there was a lot of flooding. It almost looks like some of the flooding that we saw in December of 2023. But this is from an ice jam in 2018. So it's very likely, you know, a lot of the rivers are going to see this, especially as we head towards that potential early season thaw, but it was enough concern that the National Weather Service in Gray did say something about it. So I want to get into a little bit of why they're saying this. You know, it's just all due to snow water equivalence, which is the amount of water found in snowpack, and it's actually lower. It's the lowest in 20 years, which is pretty crazy. So in the hills to the foothills down to the coastline, there's about 0.15 inches to 3/4 of an inch amount of water in the snowpack right now. Mountains 1 to 2 inches, and above 4,000 feet 4 inches. So it's enough data that the National Weather Service in Gray says it's the lowest in 20 years. So when we start seeing some thawing and when we head towards the spring, you can always stay up to date on our forecast online and into our newscast. So it's definitely going to be not an overnight. It actually could be an overnight thing very, very quickly. So it's just something to keep an eye on too.
Yeah, it can be really bad in some instances. I've been on one of the Coast Guard cutters when they've gone out there and broken up the ice jams on the Kennebec River before. And it can cause major flooding. So it's so important to get rid of those ice jams.
And Kennebec River is known year-round for flooding.
Yes.
So it's very, very likely, especially when you have not a lot of snowpack, but there is some snow in the way, thankfully, that Christian's been saying this morning.
All right. I've seen a lot of people, the city of Augusta will usually send out alerts, or like Hollowell, things like that, because they have some parking lots that are right there along the river. So they want people to, you know, remove their cars when there's a danger of it.
Yes, when there was potential river flooding a couple weeks ago, I was out there doing some storm coverage, and there was all these parking lots closed and big signs, do not park here. Flooded really bad last year. So, you know, if you are in an area that could be flood prone, it's just pretty good to take precautions.
Yes,
yeah, I remember Gardner. Remember the Hannaford flooding down there? That the whole Main Street is right by the river. So.
And you know, it's spring flooding in general when everything's melting, so we'll have to see what happens, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we'll keep tracking it.
Yes. Well, if you have any other questions you'd like to ask our Weather Authority team, you can always email us at weather@wgme.com.